Hey guys, for today's video, my mom has kidnapped me and conned me into building her raised veggie beds. So we're gonna take this little abandoned nook of her yard and create some raised veggie beds. What? Oh, it's a palm. It's gonna have a big ball. It's gonna be a massive ball underneath there. This tiny little thing. Well, it's probably what you search for on the internet. You've never searched for anything? You literally write essays to Google. Like you're providing the most information. Wow, you are smart. I don't know how well this is gonna transplant, but yeah, you do have quite a bit of eggs, actually. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 on this side. Here's another one. Look at that pineapple. Not pineapple, pine cone. But so bury those in pots like that deep. You know what I mean, like halfway.
Upside down?
No, that's the bottom. Like bury it halfway, and those will. Oh, they're baby babies. All right, guys, so for these veggie beds, what we've picked up is 2x6s, which are really 1.5 by 5.5 inches. And we're gonna do 3 tall to get us somewhere around 16.5 inches in height so that we're not right at grade and give us enough depth to put in, you know, some good carbon material like leaves, branches, things of that nature at the base, and then fill that with soil. We bought 8-foot boards because our beds are gonna be about 6 foot by 2 foot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna cut 2 foot off each end. And then what we'll do is we'll put the long board on the front and the shorter board, that roughly 2 foot, we'll sandwich on the inside, giving us just a little bit of extra width for planting so that we can get 2 rows of plants all the way down for tomatoes, peppers, things like that. So what we'll do is we'll cut all these, and then we went ahead and got some plain decking boards, which are about 1 inch by 5.5 inch. And those go around the lip to create kind of a top trim or molding, just to help them feel a little bit more finished, so we're not looking at just the blunt end of the wood once this is finished. But first we'll get all our boards cut, we'll get them screwed together, and before we assemble all 3 pieces, we'll take 1 square at a time over to the location so we can get those leveled without all the weight of all 3 of them being screwed together. So let's get cutting. Now that we've got all the boards cut, what we're gonna use is 2.5 inch exterior grade wood screws, and these 6-foot boards will be our sides, and these 2 foot or roughly 2 foot that are left over will be the short sides of our boards. And what we're gonna do, sandwich these guys together like this with another sideboard here. So that way, looking at them visually, it's a little bit cleaner of a line, but also we're just gaining just a little bit in width to be able to have 2 full rows of plantings all the way down. And then the top we'll trim out with our 1x6. You could be a little fancier with these. If you wanted to miter these corners, you totally could. You could pocket hole these. I'm gonna just be taking our 2.5 inch screws and going straight in from the sides here into the boards. It'll be plenty stable enough. They are just veggie beds. But again, if you had them where they're a little bit more predominant in the yard, you could make this a little fancier if you wanted to. Two by 6 by about 16 and a half. 3 5.5-inch boards tall. Shush. You don't have a mic, so they can't hear you anyways. Haha.
I can come over here really close to you and they can hear me.
What do you think about height,
we
though?
were going to do it higher.
Oh my god. Can I fire you? Is that possible? Even though you've kidnapped me?
Yes. That's good size, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're big, yeah. Because what we talked about is one more row, but I mean,
that'd be too big, yeah.
well, yeah, and
Since it's gonna be in legs.
for me it would be knee height, for you waist height. All right, so now that we've got the planters in place and leveled relatively so with one another, we've also decided to put in some bracing on the interior here, which is just gonna hold these guys together in their stack nice. And now we're gonna use our 1x6 decking boards to start doing our upper trim detail here, just to make it look a little fancier. Also, it'll give you a place to, you know, set down a cold beverage or your tools while you're working. But we are going to 45 each of these, so we're going to miter each corner so that it looks a little bit more polished and finished. And because our planters are not perfectly square, all I'm going to do is make my first cut at a mitered 45, and then I'm going to just line it up on the board itself, or on the planter itself, and mark my board so I know exactly where to cut. Better that we move this in a smidge anyways for support of this board, you know what I mean?
What are you gonna do? Sure.
I'm gonna do that. Well, I don't have my pocket hole jig, so you don't really have a choice. This is an impact. What? I know, but it is so much easier. It does all the work for you. Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna have enough wood. Because the interior dimension is 6 foot, not this cut out here. So when we were in the store, it would have, the math I was doing would have made it sit like this. I didn't account for the foot. We have those 4. We're gonna need 2 more of these boards.
2 more?
Mm-hmm. So it's not too bad, at least. No, I mean, if you hire me, it would be.
Right, yeah. Well,
That's why I suggested hiring Kyle. He's cheap and he does shitty work.
true. Exactly what I'm looking for.
Oh my god, how'd you know? It's exactly what I wanted. So instead of pre-drilling with the countersink bit like I'm doing for this top piece, you could use a little bit of wood glue and a finishing nail so that you don't have the screw holes. In our case, we don't really mind it being a little bit more robust in this way. But one detail is going to be the corner here, and you do want a way to attach these 2 pieces together. If I had my pocket hole jig, I would have just pocket holed these together from underneath and we wouldn't see it. But I don't, and since we're at my mom's, I can't just go get it. I've been kidnapped, correct. One way to do this is going to be use the countersink bit and put in a screw from the side so they hold tight to get together. But I am going to do it on the side that we're not going to see and not on the face of the board, just to, you know, keep it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And 1 screw should be more than enough. If you're in a more northern climate with a cold, you may need a little bit more than that. And because we are reusing some wood, you can see our corner isn't perfect, but on the inside it is. So I'm gonna just take the sander and round that over. But now our corners are nice and tight, and that closed our seam up nice for us. Our treated board versus our non-treated board that we reused for this project. The treated board is a little bit larger. So on each of the corners, we're just gonna take an 80 grit sandpaper and sand those smooth. All right, so now that we've got our beds fully assembled, we've sanded our edges and our seams here nice and smooth, it's time to start filling the beds. But before we do, we want to introduce some really good carbon material and just general organic matter. So what we're going to do is take some of the tree branches Mom's been cutting up today, as well as a bunch of our leaves and our leaf pile she's been collecting, and we're going to fill it about 2/3 of the way, honestly, with that material. It's going to settle, but that'll give her a couple of weeks to then add soil in and start her spring plantings. But it's always a good idea to hold on to any branches or leaves or dead organic material that you've got around the yard. If you're gonna do a large raised bed like this, it is a whole lot of soil to fill up a bed this size. So it's a really good way to reduce that cost when you're doing these yourself. So far, we've only spent about $130 total in wood. So the organic material will really help cut down the cost of the soil. And the other thing is it is going to produce a lot of carbon for your veggies, which will get to the root base, which is really where you want the carbon the most. So piling, again, the decaying leaf matter, the branches, things of that nature at the bed of a raised bed, or the base of a raised bed, is going to be really valuable for your plantings. As always, guys, thanks so much for following along. Let us know in the comments below what kind of veggies you're planning on growing this year. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that little bell icon to be notified when we post our next video. And as you know, it helps out the algorithms and our channel. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out rodneyandjake.com, where we've got blogs and other projects and goodies for you guys to see, including our merch store. And as always, we want to give a huge shout out to all of our members. You guys know this wouldn't be possible without you guys, so we appreciate you. We'll see you guys next time.